Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're uncovering the absolutely unimaginable scale of King Solomon's golden era. And, perhaps even more importantly, we're looking at the profound psychological and spiritual lessons hidden right beneath the surface of his ultimate success. We're diving directly into the historical accounts found in the first book of Kings, specifically chapters 4 through 10. Guys, this is a story of astronomical wealth, unprecedented peace, and a really fascinating look into human nature when it's given literally everything it desires. Okay, so let's set the stage here by asking a question that perfectly captures the stakes of the historical journey we're about to take. Seriously, take a second and think about this. We all have ambitions, right? We all strive for a certain level of success or comfort or security. But what actually happens to the human mind and the human heart when you get exactly what you prayed for and then like 100 times more? Solomon asked for wisdom to lead his people, but he was granted a level of prosperity that practically defies modern comprehension. So this isn't just some dusty ancient history lesson. It's a profound case study on the heavy weight of having it all. Section 1. Dawn of the Golden Kingdom. So as we look at how this era builds chronologically through chapters 4 to 10, it's like a snowball rolling down a mountain. It all starts with a massive, sacred construction project, building the Great Temple. This took years of intense labor and crazy organization. From there, we see decades of just massive wealth accumulation flowing right into the capital, which naturally leads to international fame. Solomon basically becomes a global celebrity. And finally, the ultimate achievement for any ancient ruler, sustained peace throughout the entire kingdom. No invading armies, no civil wars, just decades of tranquil, uninterrupted prosperity. Section 2. Building unimaginable wealth. Now, Solomon's sprawling trade networks pulled in riches from literally every corner of the known world. And we aren't just talking about local farming surpluses here, folks. The text describes sophisticated international maritime fleets in these huge overland caravans. Solomon essentially turned Israel into the ancient world's ultimate middleman. He made it the central hub. Exotic spices, precious stones, rare woods, ivory, even apes and peacocks. If it was valuable, it was being traded through Solomon's ports and getting heavily taxed. He completely monopolized the major ancient trade routes that bridged Africa, Asia, and the Mediterranean. Which leads us to the ultimate symbol of this wealth. Solomon achieved essentially a 100% monopoly on the regional gold trade. Gold wasn't just trickling into the treasury, it was a massive, uninterrupted flow that entirely redefined global wealth. The source material notes that the weight of gold coming to Solomon in a single year was calculated at 666 talents. To put that into perspective for us today, that's roughly 25 tons of solid gold arriving every single year. 25 tons! They were making drinking vessels out of it, overlaying massive thrones with it, and forging hundreds of decorative shields just to, hang on the walls. The sheer volume of this precious metal was practically immeasurable. So the crucial takeaway here is that the kingdom's wealth reached such dizzying heights that precious silver literally became as common as dirt in the streets of Jerusalem. Just think about the economic implications of that for a second. Silver, which was historically the standard currency for major transactions, suffered from massive hyperdeflation simply because there was so much of it lying around. Actually, scratch that. The text explicitly states that silver wasn't even considered valuable in the days of Solomon. When precious metals are treated like common paving stones, you've hit an economic peak that the world has rarely, if ever, seen since. And all of this extraordinary resource accumulation culminated in the era's absolute crowning architectural achievement, the magnificent temple. This wasn't just a building. It was the spiritual and cultural epicenter of the entire nation. Solomon utilized the finest materials from his trade routes. We're talking cedars from Lebanon, the absolute master craftsmen of Tyre, and of course, boundless amounts of gold to overlay the interior. The temple stood as this dazzling, physical manifestation of both their devotion and their unparalleled national prosperity. I mean, it was literally designed to leave any visiting dignitary completely breathless. Section 3. Global Fame and Total Peace. With all of this, the kingdom became the absolute center of the world. It commanded admiration from other nations and ensured total, absolute peace. The text details how monarchs like the famous Queen of Sheba traveled thousands of miles across harsh deserts just to see if the wild rumors about Solomon's wisdom and wealth were actually true. And as the text notes, she was left utterly overwhelmed. But the most remarkable part isn't just the fame, it's the security. This geopolitical dominance meant that, for decades, the nation experienced total peace. People were able to sit under their own vines and fig trees without an ounce of fear. It was the absolute zenith of ancient national success. Section 4. The danger of ultimate success. Now, there's a major misconception we really need to clear up right here. When we analyze texts about immense wealth, our immediate reaction is often to assume the wealth itself is the villain of the story. But the source text makes it very, very clear having success and receiving abundant blessings are not inherently bad things. In fact, Solomon's wealth and peace were a direct fulfillment of a promise from God. These resources allowed for the construction of the temple and brought an era of unprecedented stability to the people. Success in and of itself is beautifully neutral here. But here's the catch. The true spiritual danger only begins when the blessings themselves become more important to us than the one who actually gave them. And guys, this is the crux of this entire explainer. The psychological trap of this gilded reign wasn't the gold itself. It was what the gold did to the human heart. When you're constantly surrounded by peace, fame, and just endless resources, an insidious shift happens. Self-reliance replaces gratitude. The gift eclipses the giver. The comfort becomes the ultimate idol. It's a really subtle shift, but a deeply, deeply destructive one. Which brings us to the profound, lingering question at the absolute heart of Solomon's story. And it's one that challenges every single one of us who strives for success today. Can a man or a woman stay faithful when they have absolutely everything? When there are no storms to pray through, no financial crises to navigate, and absolutely no enemies at the gates, where does your focus go? The account of 1 Kings 4-10 leaves us marveling at the heights of human achievement while simultaneously warning us about the gravity of the fall. So I really want you to take that question with you today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and as always, keep looking beneath the surface.